Subscribe for the very latest.
All right, so listen. Top 10 comedies. I'm excited because we've been talking about. I think we're talking about doing something like this similar for a while now. We talk about a certain sitcom all the time, Martin. But I think this is going to be good. I'm curious to see now. I would hope that we can maybe come to something to where we can create a list of our own with top comedies. But I want everybody to give their list, and it don't have to be in any particular order. I'm just kind of seeing how we can make a top 10 list of the comedies. Jay, you up? What you got?
Oh.
Yo, that thing look like an essay.
You ready? All right. For my top 10 black comedy TV show, you got Martin. You got The Cosby Show. I got A Different World. Living Single. The Jeffersons. Good Times. Parenthood. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Family Matters, and Sanford and Son.
Okay. I think a lot of those are going to be on a lot of people's lists. I'm curious to see.
Of course.
What Walt got over there.
I said a lot of the same joints. I got Good Times, A Different World, Martin, Living Single, Fresh Prince, Cosby, the Bernie Mac Show, My Wife and Kids, Everybody Hates Chris, and Sisters.
And who?
Sisters.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't put that on my list.
That's good.
Oh.
I like that. Chumley, what you got?
I got Martin, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, The Cosby Show, Living Single, Family Matters, The Parkers, Blackish, Sanford and Son, Good Times, and The Jeffersons.
A Different World is not on your list?
Literally.
It was. I moved it. See,
Oh
I moved it. It's on one of my lists, but I moved it over to TV.
Hey, don't
Black TV
disrespect that man list.
I moved over to dramas. I mean, it was like A Different World is a comedy also, but I moved it over to a TV drama because it had a lot of important parts that was I viewed as really important parts. So I just moved over to TV dramas.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, I respect that. Tay, what you got?
Don't come for me. I have Living Single is my all-time favorite ever in the world. I am Maxine Shaw.
That's a fact. You are Maxine Shaw.
I love Different World. Parenthood. And I'm gonna take it back to my childhood. Kenan and Kel. I swear.
Oh, okay, that was a good one.
Forgot about
That
that.
was my favorite. I think the Boondocks is hilarious. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't
It
believe
was.
I was going to bring that up.
I put it on the TV drama. See, I like Boondocks too, but I put that on TV drama. So it's funny, but it's got important points in there. So that's why it's just kind of hard.
I'm sorry. Wayans Brothers back then was funny. And Living Color was hilarious. Hated it. Okay. Everybody hates Chris because it's so relatable.
That's a classic.
It's so relatable. Yeah. Okay, so of course I did more than 10, but I'm only gonna do 10. I want to hear that.
Always.
Never fails.
The Cosby Show, of course. Moesha, and last but not least, and certainly not least, ever not least, Martin. Martin will forever, and every time I mention the name Martin, I see him in all black with that fake Rottweiler. Yeah, those are mine right there. So, and just bonus, my wife and kids. Okay, I'm done.
Always. I think I ain't gonna lie. I got more than 10 too. So.
It's too hard. It's hard.
So first of all, the Cosby Show is so important to my DNA. I don't understand. A part of my DNA, man. Like I wouldn't be the man I am right now, but wasn't for Heathcliff Huxtable, not Bill Cosby, but Heathcliff Huxtable made me love jazz. He made me love art. He wanted me to get an education. He told me how to be a good dad. Told me all these things. So, Cosby Show. A Different World, maybe he's definitely wanted to go to college. Fresh Prince, maybe wanted to go to LA. Family Matters, maybe understand I could be who I am and not care. Like Urkel was just who he was, you know what I'm saying? Martin, just silly, funny, man. Living Single made me look at women very different. That was my mirror to women. I don't know where I'm at. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
You know you won that 5. You done named.
You know what? I'm gonna go out and do Girlfriends.
Oh.
Girlfriends is another mirror to what women are like. You know, a different kind of women. Directed by a white man. Still a black classic though. Just saying. I mean it is. Let's see. Man. Boondocks. Man, I don't know. All right, so I'm just going Proud Family, and I'm gonna name one more. I got so many, but I'm just gonna throw out Bernie Mac Show. I love Good Times, but it was always bad times. I'm just saying.
Let me tell you something.
It was not bad times.
Y'all can talk about me all y'all want to. When James left, I stopped kind of like. I mean, I wasn't alive. Let's just put that out there.
Right. Yes, she was.
When James stopped, the family dynamic. It really shows you like how the structure just shifted, because here's Florida. Like James, all he had to do was stand up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really like it after that, because it just became JJ. Good Times is just not on my list at all.
Plus, they took the black man. They took the black man out the home.
Yeah,
that was wrong. They know they was wrong for that.
He didn't want to do the show no more.
No. That's not what it was. He didn't like JJ's character.
The clown.
Because this goes back to the history of TV. You know, he knows the history of TV. He knows how blackface was. He knows the buffoonery and coonery that we had to go through to get to this point. Mm-hmm. So he went to the white director and was like, yo, listen, I think we should change JJ's character a little bit. And they felt like he wasn't going with the program. They fired him.
Oh, dang.
Now he said he came into work one day and they was like,
right. They was like, yo, look, look, he didn't get a phone call, no nothing.
James Amos.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like,
it's not John? Is it John?
John or James?
John, that might be John. I think you're right.
John.
I think you're right.
I'm sorry, y'all.
I think it's John Amos.
Oh, okay.
James
sorry,
names on the show.
Yeah.
What?
But see that once again that goes, you know, it kind of goes back to what we were saying about this kind of like the way we're looked at on TV. It's a history behind that. So he was fired though. They let him go because he kept on coming at them about JJ and the way his character was, and look what they did to JJ. To Tay's point, he became more buffoonerish. He became a father figure in the home, but it was
like still, they got a little smarts before, because that like it started to be where Dynamite didn't even make sense.
Right. So, but yeah, that's what happened. But yeah, so.
But that's also what happened just for a little bit. When Esther Rolle went off and got married to Carl, and she was gone for that long time, and they introduced Thelma's husband, like to add on to like the context.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like she was having problems with that as well. She was like that he's becoming the star of the show, and that there is no room for anybody else because, and also like she was like Esther Rolle did I mean, it is black and white grainy, but I saw it on YouTube. You guys should look into it. When you go into the collab to look at you go into YouTube to look at the collab, you can kind of switch over and look at this little clip with Esther Rolle talking about what happened on the show. And just the fact that she was just like, it's buffoonery. Like he's the one that's like, he's the only reason people are coming to Good Times. It used to be a wholesome family show is because he's a buffoon.
Wow.
And as the show gets older, it starts not to make sense because they're so intent on him being funny and him being like the main character. So it's like we always can cut a rug and we gotta tap dance and we gotta do all this extra stuff. Oh, he gotta be funny. Say something to make me laugh. Like that's the thing I hate about our coming up, in industry. We were either maids, prostitutes, or we, nannies in movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to keep that same dynamic. We had to be the fools. We had to be the You got to tap dance a little harder. You got to, be the maid, be the butler,
Right. And she was a maid. She was a maid prior to the show starting because she's a spinoff from the show Maude. So the mom so the mom was a maid on the show Maude, and then they spent that show off, and she, Good Times was birthed from that.
Right. The same thing with the Jeffersons was a spinoff of All in the Family.
Right. And I think I want to say it's the same director, if I'm not mistaken, same director who did both of them. Allegedly, don't quote me.
And then Family Matters was a spinoff from
Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers with Harry.
I've never seen it, but I did hear that. I've never seen it.
Oh yeah, she played she was a elevator operator on Perfect Strangers, and one day she just went home and it was Family Matters.
That gotta be.
I can't say it like that. She went home and then Family Matters.
And how the theme song go, Tay?
It's a rare condition.
I remember editing that episode when she said that. I remember cracking it up so much. I was like, that just happened.
And I didn't get to the good part. The grand design. Let me be sitting over here by myself. It get real loud up in here.
So hey, these lists are great, right? Can we list them in important? First of all, I meant to start what are the rules? Because we got to make a list. We got to make a list, right? What are the rules? What are the rules of like what will become important? Like what's if you say, hey, you know what, this is my top. What's the most important thing that makes it your top?
It's perspective. It's personal though. You know what I'm saying? Like, my top is always gonna be Living Single because I don't have a top. It's a top like top. It's like a top list. It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not like greatest to least. It's how it makes me feel. Like I wanted to go to Hillman and live upstairs across the hall from Kyle and Overton. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to work at Maxine. Like I just felt like it made me feel it's personal. Boondocks is funny because it's one of them cartoons that's risque, and it's like, come on now. It's
I watched Boondocks so many times.
Yes, Boondocks is hilarious.
I'm talking about from season 1 to season 5. I watched it like 3-4 times already.
I was so excited when they were supposed to be bringing it back, and then never happened.
You know, Magruder, I forget his. He's very sensitive about that show.
Who?
Because Aaron Magruder, because he was taken off that show, and they just pretty much did whatever they wanted to do with it, or they kept on telling him to change stuff, and he was like, "Nah, we're not doing that."
You can't change it. That takes away from
the authenticity.
Yes.
No, just watch season. If y'all can want to stomach season 4,
right?
Tell the audience watch season 4.
It's tough.
What happened in season 4?
It gets satirical. It gets like, okay, this is what's really going on. Like the Popeyes chicken sandwiches.
It's good times all over again.
Like that, they kind of like it's just like the Black Simpsons. It's like things that happen in Boondocks really do be happening. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hilarious. Like the Popeyes chicken sandwiches, like people running each other over for these chicken sandwiches. It's like an actual episode. Like,
season 5.
You know,
it's this year. That season that they did,
it's just forever. Like it's really real. Like it's like,
where is it at? Is it on Hulu or something?
It's on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
It's on Hulu because it's not on Netflix, so it's on Hulu. It's on Hulu.
But it's like you were saying. See, it's like your stuff has meaning. Like the Cosby Show is the family dynamic. You know,
right? But I wouldn't listen to number 1 though. See, that's the thing. Like
number 1 either.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what. See, all right. So listen. So here's my, because it's certain things that I really like, right? And I can put that to the side, right? And create like a hierarchy of what I think these things should be, right? Like I feel like impact is always important. And when I say impact, not impact to me, but impact to the culture. Right? Like how did different world impact the culture?
Different World will be my number 1. Like my number 1 as far as like
for the comedy.
Yeah, as far as my comedy, my like tearjerker, like my it kind of stirs my aggression sometimes in some episodes, like. Just that. Well, first of all, let's just talk about the fact that Cree Summer is a legend in everything. Like Cree Summer is one of the ones that's still working, always been working behind the scenes, director, producer, all of that, even on Different World. You know, like she is just one of those people, and she's like the voice of a million cartoons. You know what I'm saying? But even back then, like what everybody's so crazy about now, astrology and like, you know, manifesting, and she was doing that for real. Like she was woke. She was crazy woke. She was like, you know, woke to the point, I don't care how crazy I look, I'm doing this for my people. You know what I mean? That's what make it my favorite, because everybody back then, where everybody want to be now, that's what that show was then. Like you got Whitley. Now she was bougie, but she didn't play about her people. You know what I'm saying? When she found out her folks own slaves, right? You know what I'm saying? But Cree Summer, I remember one episode where she was handing out sage. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, to me, it just made me feel like I can be Kimberly Reese. You know what I'm saying? Like Kimberly Reese was the hardest working person on that whole show. I could be Kimberly Reese.
I have such a crush on Kimberly Reese.
I was like, you know, I had to look up. I'm like, why they put all that
chocolateness?
She had
chocolateness because she was so thick. She was thick to the point where I don't think anybody can take it on TV thick. You know what I'm saying? Not back then. Like she was just a thick girl.
It made her look older, I guess.
Right. And she was, the chocolateness, it beamed off the TV. I love this girl. Like I was so in love with her.
My favorite was Mr. Gaines. Mr. Gaines was
Gaines.
And
But so I would say, but I'm gonna say this though. All right, so we're not gonna do a top 10 list, right? Let's just say what out of, because we listen a lot of songs, a lot of shows, right? What belongs in the list? We ain't even gonna list them. What belongs in the list?
Definitely Different World. Definitely Cosby Show.
Yeah.
Even if it's not our top, they are the ones that kind of, it's always going to be embedded in Black culture because these were our examples of what you, when Claire went and bought, like, it was nothing. She was like, I don't care how much it costs. I'm getting that paint. And my uncle and sis laid out $20,000.
Right.
For her uncle painting.
It was either 20 or 15, something like that. It was more like back then. That was a lot. It might as well have been 100,000. That was like in the 80s, early 90s. That was big money. And for Black people to just lay that on the line and not think twice about it, like, oh, I got my painting, and they just sit in the living room looking at it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's huge. That is huge. And it was like they still live modestly. They still drove a station wagon. Like, she's a lawyer.
They lived in Brooklyn.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
In a brownstone.
Brownstone in Brooklyn. It just was like the basement had a basement. You know what I'm saying? Like, they went on vacations. They went on like super extravagant dates, and you know.
But you know what about the Cosby Show was interesting? Cosby Show goes against what people would consider to be Black culture, because it wasn't. And at that time, and I'm sure it was some people out there, but you didn't hear doctors, Black lawyers. You know, you didn't hear them having their own practices and stuff like that. You didn't hear them talking about art, even though it was a part of the culture, but it wasn't. They didn't think it was going to work.
But that was just something different. That bill, because originally Dr. Huxtable was supposed to be a plumber. Like, originally he was supposed to be a plumber, and then throughout them processing and talking about the show, he was just like, let's make him a doctor. And Claire was always going to be a lawyer, but he was like, let's make him a doctor, because he wanted to bring something to TV that hadn't been done yet. Because you gotta think about it, before the Cosby Show, we really didn't see a Black prominent wealthy family before the Cosby Show on TV. And so it kind of, you said what?
Yeah, you said you right now.
Yeah, we didn't see one. Like, you had Good Times, they were struggling. Like, they always, like, all of those shows before were struggling. And then, I mean, we had the Jeffersons, but like,
they were struggling before.
They were struggling before, and he just actually happened to step out on faith, and the cleaners business took off. But before him, we didn't really have any. So it was a family, and he wanted them to be prominent and be something that we could dream about being, or seeing this is something that we could accomplish. And then look at it, you turn around and we got all of these Black lawyers and Black doctors. Like, say what you want about the Cosby Show, like, that's my show. Like, I will always love, I don't care what anybody say, like, Cosby Show in Different World, I don't care, regardless. It's Cosby Show Different World.
You know what's funny about what you said though? With the Jeffersons, he was an arrogant little butthole.
He had Napoleon complex.
He was so driven to be better and to like really like be above the heads of the oppressors at that to where the difference between him and he, like, you know, he took care of his family. He still took care of his family. He loved his wife. He took care. He was faithful or whatever. But he was like, I'm gonna show him. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I liked about the Jeffersons. Like, he was so arrogant, but he had a reason to be. Because it was like he still wasn't good enough for you know, at that time. He still wasn't.
But that's the truth though, because regardless to some of them, no matter how good you are, no matter how many of your own businesses you own, how much money you're making, or whatever you do in your community, you're still never going to be good, and you always have to fight twice as hard to be better. So it was truth to it.
Yeah, the Jeffersons need to be on there for sure.